Have you found the move back?
Yeah, I love it being over here in Perth. 5 years in Melbourne was good, bit of a learning curve, and I feel like I've ready to take my footy to the next level, come back to Perth.
Have you made some adjustments within your game to fit into the way that West Coast train and the way that the Royals are also going about their
Yeah, well, it's good having East Perth aligned with West Coast, sort of semi this year, but I think next year will be good for the players that are playing in the waffle. But yeah, definitely made a few changes to the way I play. In particular, training. The training standards are a lot higher over here, and that's just what comes with the success of the West Coast Eagles over the past 20 years, I suppose. I think they've set the benchmark for training standards in the pre-season, and it's been good, and I've noticed small improvements in my game.
How stark are the differences between Melbourne and West Coast?
I think there's quite a big gap at the moment. From all reports, Melbourne had a pretty good pre-season, but until you do change clubs and you are involved as a player, you don't really notice the changes as much. But look, I just think that West Coast, they set the standard, and Melbourne and other clubs like this probably see the way that they go about it and they want to get there. And no doubt the gap is closing with the nature of the game, but still at the moment, I think it's quite a bit of a gap.
I feel like you dodged a bullet not being at Melbourne this year.
Yeah, look, I mean, I would have been happy to be at Melbourne still. I'd be happy to be on any AFL list, but I think it's a massive bonus to have been traded to West Coast, a club with such good culture and good success. I'm just happy to be here on the list, and like I said, I've made a few small improvements to my game, and until I see that at AFL level, I probably won't be as satisfied, but I'm building towards it, and hopefully I can get an opportunity in the coming weeks.
You culturally though, do you think they have a problem? Where do you think the problem is at Melbourne?
Look, I think they're working it out and they're working through it, and to their credit, what they're doing quite well this year is they're keeping it all in-house. I think over the past, they probably, the media got hold of a few things, probably before sometimes the players did and people within the club, but this year they're keeping it within themselves as a team, and I think that's good. I think they're working on things. I know the two young captains, Jack Grimes and Jack Trengover, they're people, really high quality young guys, and they're going to lead the club for the next few years, and they're so determined to get them out of the hole they're in that I think they'll get out eventually.
Do you feel like you had to retrain yourself a bit though when you left Melbourne?
No, I learnt some good football lessons while I was there, and I'm going to be better for them. But now that I'm here at West Coast, I'm happy to learn some more and implement that into my game. But no doubt there'll be things that I learn at Melbourne that I can take forward with me.
How much easier is it having senior guys at a club like West Coast, like Curry and Matt Privers and Darren Glass, to actually look up to and learn off, rather than Melbourne, where it's quite a young list and we don't have that senior? Yeah,
it's probably something that goes under the radar. I haven't heard that said much, but it makes a big difference to have, I guess, superstars like Coxie and Curry and even Nick Nat, walking around the change rooms and setting a standard on the track and on game day. And there's also such good leaders here at West Coast. I mean, Darren Glass, until you play with him or train with him, you don't know how influential he is amongst the playing group, because he's actually quite quiet, but he just leads by example. And I'm sure someone will pop up like that at Melbourne in the next couple of years, but at the moment they probably don't have anyone like a Darren Glass. Not many clubs do, to be honest, but it's a real highlight for us to have him as part of our club.
Cale, looking back at when you were drafted and obviously playing at Hale and at Claremont as well, did you enjoy your time at Melbourne? How do you look back at that experience?
Yeah, look, the way I see it, I had 5 years at Melbourne and I don't regret anything. I had a good time over there and I made some good friends and some good connections. Look, I think it was, I had a bit of pressure on me when I first went over there, but I managed to have a couple of good years, and unfortunately my form, through no one else's fault really but my own, just dropped off a bit. I got injured at crucial times over the past few years and didn't really get a full pre-season in, but yeah, look, I don't regret it at all. Like I said, I learned a few good football lessons over there that hopefully I can take into the future.
And you played sort of a lot of halfback coming through Claremont, a little bit at Melbourne as well. Is that still where you see yourself?
Yeah, I actually trained with the midfield over this pre-season, had a full pre-season in the midfield. And it was a real eye-opener to see how hard the young midfielders at West Coast like Luke Shuey, Chris Master and Scott Selwood work. So I learned a lot from training with them. And now I'm playing some football across halfback for East Perth. So I've played about 5 or 6 weeks there, and I'm unsure where my spot in the team will be, with the guys hitting a bit of form now, but I think maybe on the wing or across halfback.
Aerobically, how hard is it to train with the midfield group?
Yeah, well, at Melbourne I was probably one of the better runners, but when I got here I was probably just scraping into the top 10, so to speak, so a big eye-opener. But I'm hoping with that pre-season under my belt next year I can get even better.
So what are your goals?
How far do you think you are away from getting a spot in this team?
I've had a few good, honest discussions with the coaches, and I'm still probably a couple of weeks away. I feel as though I'm ready to play now, but there are still parts of my game that I'm working on that is, guys at the football club, take a few years to learn, but I'm sort of wanting to be as fast-tracked as I can because I've already played 75 games of AFL football and I feel like I'm an AFL player and I don't want to be playing in the waffle, but the reality is when you come to a good club like West Coast, you got to do your time, I suppose, and I'm really committed to, when I do get in the side, I want to stay in there. So I'm happy to be playing good football in the waffle at the moment and waiting for my chance to come because I know when I get it, I really want to make the most of it.
Could you play high half forward and defensively? That's the most important part, isn't it? You think you're ready for that?
Yeah, well, no doubt the defensive side to my game was probably what needed the most work. So playing across half-back has been good for me. Look, I'd love to break into the side playing in any position really. I'm not going to pick and choose. If Woosha comes and tells me I'm going to be the sub, then I'm happy to do whatever, just as long as I can have my first game for West Coast.